Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're now tuned into the 411 podcast and reading Between the Wines, powered by the Black Diamond Consultations Network. More than a podcast, this is a sanctuary for self-discovery, healing, and personal growth. Here, we explore what it means to live debt-free, not just financially, but spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Every episode is part of a journey across our weekly mentorship series: Spiritual Sundays, Mental Mondays, Transformational Tuesdays, Wind Down Wednesdays, Coaching Sessions Thursdays, and Financial Fridays. Each day holds space for wisdom, clarity, and real conversation. So grab your journal, pour your glass, and prepare to go beyond the surface. Because here, we don't just talk, we transform. And now, here's your guide through it all, entrepreneur, mentor, and founder of Black Diamond Consultations, Laren Gaines.
Welcome on in. Welcome on in to another episode of the 411 podcast. This is Coaching Sessions Thursday, and I want to thank you all so much for joining in. Thank you so much for coming on in. If you can please do me a favor, please like, please comment, please share, subscribe, tag a friend, text a friend, do whatever you need to do to support. And most importantly, please use your virtual voice. Let me know where you were coming from. Let me know where you were calling from. Let me know, where you're representing. Go ahead and drop it in the comments and let me know. And again, I could not do any of this without each and every one of you out there supporting, checking me out, commenting, DMing me, just checking me out in general. And I want to say thank you so much. And of course, I cannot do this without my executive producer, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I want to thank you so much for giving me another opportunity to be able to come out here and do the 411 podcast. So let's get right on into this mentorship series here, Coaching Sessions Thursday. Before we get into that as well, before we move on, I want to give a very special thank you to my special guest who joined me last night, author slash poet Birdman 313. We have been having some great episodes. So for those of you out there that want to check out the replay, you haven't, caught them, you're just catching up. Let's go ahead and first of all give a very big shout out to author slash poet Birdman 313. Thank you so much. Now, for those of you out there, go ahead and listen to me on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Deezer, um, what is that? Amazon Music, streaming live on Facebook, Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube. We have D Live, Daily Motion, Twitch, just to name a few. Now, some of the platforms have been experiencing some technical difficulties. So, as I am, recording this now, I understand that X has been experiencing some issues. So, for the people out there on X, you may be missing a couple episodes, but again, you can check me out wherever you listen to your major podcast. I just named a few, and if you happen to go to the area where you listen to your podcast and the 411 reading between the wines is not available, all you have to do is just reach out and let me know. You can DM me, you can text me, and we can go ahead and get that set up where where your home base is. So again, thank you all so much. This has been an amazing journey. We got so much coming, and I feel like we are just getting started. So let's go ahead and get right on into this song of the day. Pick Up Your Feelings. Pick Up Your Feelings by Miss Jazmine Sullivan. I love Jazmine. I remember one time I was at a Mary J. Blige concert, and a couple rows back, like maybe like I want to say maybe two, three, maybe very close. Miss Jazmine Sullivan was sitting behind me in a regular audience in Philly, just chilling with everybody else, and I thought that was amazing that she just blended in so well with everybody else and really wasn't concerned that people knew that it was Jazmine Sullivan. Although we did spot her, she didn't get freaked out, she didn't get crazy, and yeah, Jazmine Sullivan was sitting a couple rows behind me at a Mary J. Blige concert. Mm. Song of the day, Pick Up Your Feelings by Jazmine Sullivan. I want to speak about when, we remix it the way we do it here. I want to speak about how we pick up our own feelings. Instead of telling somebody to pick up their feelings, sometimes we need to look in the mirror. We need to take that hard, good look in the mirror and pick up our own feelings. So, this is going to be interesting. So, how many times do we think that we need to step in and be somebody's savior? Because the last time that I checked, there's only one savior, and you ain't him. I had to tell myself that too. The last time I checked, there's only one savior, and guess what, Laren? You ain't him. So, who do you think you are? See, sometimes we have to step to ourselves. Sometimes we have to check ourselves. Sometimes we have to step in and say, who do you think you are thinking that you can go ahead and do God's work? Sometimes you need to pick up your own feelings, pick up your feelings, just like Jazmine says. Why do you think that you need to step in and save somebody else? If anything, you need to be focusing on saving yourself. And God helps those, I'm sure you've heard that God helps those who help themselves. Sometimes we think that we need to get in and be the savior. We need to get in and do God's work, and we need to get in between the situation and help somebody else who don't even want to help themselves. Mm, why? Why do we feel that we need to go ahead and step in and do God's work and try to be the savior and try to help somebody, try to pick somebody else up, when in reality, what we need to be doing is picking ourselves up? Song of the day: Pick Up Your Feelings. Jazmine Sullivan, released in 2020 off of her album Heaux Tales. Interesting album cover, but album title, excuse me. But of course, if you listen to the album, you know exactly what it starts off with. So it's just very fitting. But this was a great time for her to come out with a record like this, because in 2020, we needed to get out of our feelings. We needed to, I don't know who I'm speaking to, I'm only speaking from experience, but we needed to start picking up our own feelings instead of worrying about picking up and cleaning up and fixing somebody else up. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and put that out there. I don't know who I'm speaking to. I'm only speaking from real life experiences. But tonight, I want to speak about financial boundaries in relationships, how unclear emotional boundaries turn into financial obligations. This is so important. Track 12: Stop financing your relationships for real. Stop financing them for real. We're going to go all the way to Florida, Tampa, Florida, and we're going to help out Adrian. And Adrian says, Laren, I don't mind helping the woman I'm with. I was raised to provide, to protect, to step up. But lately, it feels like I'm financing more than I'm building. I started small, covering dinner, helping with a bill here and there. Then it became her car note when she was short, then her credit card when things got tight. Now I'm now I'm juggling my own debt while trying to keep us afloat. The hard part is this: when I try to pull back, I feel guilty, like I'm not doing enough, like love is supposed to look like sacrifice. But I'm exhausted. I've drained my emergency savings twice in the last year helping her out. I've postponed paying down my own debt because something always comes up. I don't know if I'm being supportive or irresponsible. I don't want to be stingy, but I also don't want to keep funding a situation that has no structure. How do you love someone without letting their lack of discipline become your financial burden? Adrian. Well, Mr. Adrian, we're going to take it to the top and we're going to try to help you the best way that we can here on the 411 podcast. Now, before we go into helping Adrian, I want everyone to know that I am not a financial advisor. I am not a financial planner. I am a financial coach. And in anything that you hear when it comes to finances, anything that you hear when it comes to spirituality, anything that you hear when it comes to mental health, physical health, anything in general, especially here on the 411 podcast, Reading Between the Wines, please do your own due diligence. Again, I'm only giving you my experiences. This is my own personal opinion, and I'm only putting it out there. This is not me telling you what to do. Do your own due diligence, do your own research. So I'm going to take it to the top. You says that you don't mind helping the woman you are with. You were raised to provide, to protect, and to step up. Absolutely. That is signs of a man. Absolutely. And you say, but lately it feels like you're financing more than you're building. Now that's a problem. That is a big problem. And I'm glad that you're recognizing that. And one key thing that you say in this that is just so profound. This is how it starts. You says it started small. I'm gonna say that again. You said it started small. And typically that's exactly what happens when a situation like this occurs. It starts small. You go to dinner here or there, which is exactly what you said. Again, I'm just reminiscing because this sounds all so familiar to me. This is where the problem comes in. helping with a bill here and there. Hmm. Then it became a car note when she was short. Then a credit card when things got tight. Now let's take it back to the beginning. Covering dinner, that's what we do. That's good. That makes sense. I truly believe in Dutch dating. I truly believe that, we could do 50-50. If I'm asking you to go out on a date, if I'm asking you to go somewhere, then of course it's only right for me to dig down in my pocket if I'm asking you out. If you're asking me out, then it's only right that maybe you would pay. And there's nothing wrong with meeting in the middle. That's the most important aspect is that you can provide your own. You can stand on your own 2 feet. A bill here and there, I don't know about that. No, a bill here and there, that's a problem. A bill here and there, I don't understand that. Then it became the car note when she was short. No, this is already going south. Then a credit card when things got tight. We could stop the letter right here. We could stop the conversation right here. This is already going south. I don't know how long that y'all have been dating before you decided to dig down in your pockets and start paying these things. And now, as a result, you say that you're juggling your own debt while trying to keep, this is a problem here, us afloat. Us trying to keep us afloat. I don't understand us. Nowhere did it say that you were married or engaged, living together. I don't know what this is here. But if you have debt, you're struggling to be on your own 2 feet. Let's take it back to pick up your own feelings, pick up your feelings. How can you sit here and help keep somebody else afloat when you are struggling to keep yourself afloat? See, when we get into these relationships, just as well as we focus on debt free living, this is so important to take these same principles and apply it to our relationships. Let's start from the top. Before you get wrapped up and trapped up into these relationships with people, you need to make sure that the person that you want to cohabitate with, you're going to get wrapped up and trapped up with, that they are aligning with you on a spiritual aspect. And a lot of times, when it comes to the spiritual aspect, that is going to affect how you show up with your money. Are you being a good steward of God's money? Or are you just out here recklessly doing what you want to do? And if you feel that this person that you want to be with is not lining up on a spiritual aspect, then you might need to start to question a couple things. Mentally, are you both on the same page? If not, somewhere similar. Are you vibrating on the same frequency? Or do you have to show up and be somebody's personal, therapist? It is not your responsibility to regulate somebody else's nervous system. God has given you, and I'm speaking to me and anybody in general, enough on your plate. You have enough on your plate focusing and managing your own nervous system that, and I don't know who I'm speaking to. I'm only speaking from experiences because I've been there before. And I had to look in the mirror and ask myself, Laren, how dare you think that you can go ahead and manage somebody else's nervous system when you're having a hard enough time managing your own? You need to make sure that you are showing up properly, uh, treating people with respect, not going off on anybody, not cussing people out, not going upside somebody's head. Like, yeah, are your emotions in check, Laren? Because you got enough on your plate to handle and make sure that you are good. Now, the physical aspect, when you get wrapped up and trapped up with somebody, you want to talk about your mental health taking a challenge, your mental health going through the loop. Try getting in a relationship or being in a relationship and you both are not compatible from the physical aspects. And I'm not just talking sex. And let's just keep it real. That is not the only thing. An important aspect, but not everything. But do you have the motivation? Do you have the drive to get up and do something with yourself, with your life? Or are you taking the lazy route out? You taking the easy route out and you decide to take shortcuts when it comes to life in general? You know how detrimental that is when you are wrapped up and trapped up with someone and you two are not compatible from the physical realm? Mm, no good. And here we are speaking today about the financial aspect of it. I spoke about this a couple nights ago, and this is just a common topic and a theme that I speak about is that you are only an average of the five closest people that you surround yourself with. Only an average, not the top, just an average of the five closest people that you interact with on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Now, how important is it to make sure that the person that you are with, you know, in a relationship with, cohabitating with, sleeping with, whatever you have going on with, how important is it to make sure that that person is aligned properly when it comes to the financial aspect? Because you will start to pick up their habits and start to do and become, who they are and create these soul ties and everything else. And some of these things are so hard to break after we've already invited this type of situation. I can get even deeper, this type of spirit into our environments. This is so important. And now, after all of this, let's get back to this. You say that the hard part is when you try to pull back, you feel guilty. Now, I know exactly where you're coming from because if I didn't know any better, you want this person that you're in a relationship with to be a winner. You want them to be on team, winning, team win. I get it. But you know full well it's that instinct, it's that intuition that says, no, something's not right. We are not a cash register. We are not here to be somebody's personal bank. We are not here to be somebody's crutch, somebody's footstool. We know that God probably doesn't agree with some of these decisions. So I'm going to need to pull back because I'm going to have to take care of myself first. Like reality will sink in when you start to realize that you are sinking in sand and the other person is right there with you, sinking right along, and they could care less. And they're looking at you to be able to help both of us get out the situation. And they're just sitting there, and you're the only one freaking out because you know that the walls are closing in. So you start to get yourself up out of the situation, but then you feel guilty because you look back and you see the other person sitting there with their hand out, waiting for you to come up and do something. And then now you're taking on somebody else's burden and somebody else's responsibility. Back to what I was saying before, it is not your responsibility to regulate somebody else's nervous system. It is not your responsibility to make sure that somebody gets up and moves and goes to work and does what they're supposed to do to, live. There's a it's cost of living. We've all heard that before, cost of living. Some of us we get a cost of living adjustment, which is considered a raise or an increase, at our place of business. There's a cost of living. You have to pull your weight. Everybody in this world, they have to pull their own weight. You can't rely on another individual to do something for you because at the end of the day, Anybody can go ahead and turn around and do the 180 on you, can turn their back. They can get up one day and realize that you are not the person that they want to be with. You are not the person that they want to help anymore. And when someone decides to turn around and do the 180 or get up and do whatever they want to do, or say that they don't like you, they don't love you, they don't want you, there is nothing that you can do about it except accept it, because every single person in this world has the ability to make their own free choice and decision. And we are not to manipulate, control, force anybody into wanting to be with us, love us, like us, anything. We have to be able to stand on our own 2 feet and accept things and decisions and what people say and who they are for exactly who they are and what they are. That lesson right there was one of the hardest lessons that I had to learn in my life, because Adrian, this letter here, this situation, I've lived this time and time again until I got good and sick and tired of myself and said, absolutely not. We won't do that again. And now you're asking, is this love or is this sacrifice? Is this love or is this sacrifice? If it's love, you're going to feel love. You're not going to feel drained. You're not going to feel like you're making a mistake. You're not going to feel guilty. Love doesn't make you feel that way. Now you're exhausted. And this part here isn't a situation here. You've said that you've drained your emergency savings twice in the last year helping her out. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You drained your savings account, emergency savings account, twice in the last year helping her out. Now, that's not an emergency. Now, we can shut this whole thing down here immediately because that is not an emergency. Now, I'll break it down when it comes to the emergency fund. For anybody who focuses on debt free living, you've taken the coaching sessions, you've been hanging out here at Black Diamond Consultations for a minute, you all know that we do not touch our emergency fund unless it's for an absolute emergency. Now, you might be asking, Laren, what are some examples of an emergency? Well, we're going to go ahead and break it down here. Anything happens with your car, an unexpected situation with your car, that's an emergency. And I'm not speaking about, the check engine light came on and I just drove my car for 6 months to a year and it broke down. You saw the warning signs, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Now you created an emergency. This is something that's unexpected and it popped out of nowhere. That's an emergency. And whatever this emergency is, you use the funds for that, because the alternative is swiping a credit card, getting a personal loan, and going back into debt. So we need to do whatever we need to do to make sure that we don't get into consumer debt. Hospitalizations, loss of job, a major appliance breaks down. You have, a major home repair issue, car issue, family issue. I've even heard of some situations where there's been a death in a family, and now you need to go ahead and get on a plane to go, cross country somewhere. That's an emergency. You save for the emergency fund. That's why it's called an emergency fund. This is not because you want to go on vacation. This is not an account that you want to go ahead and help somebody else because they don't even know how to help themselves. Absolutely not. Keep your emergency savings fund for what it is labeled and what it's titled for, an emergency. And this part is even more disturbing. You have postponed paying down your own debt because something always comes up. You postpone paying down your own debt because something always comes up. The question I have to ask is, for who? What comes up? Is it your issue that comes up? Is it your car repair? Is it your home repair? Is it your bills that need to be paid? Or are you telling me about somebody else that doesn't want to pay for their own stuff and can't pay for their own stuff because they don't have the mental fortitude, they don't have the spiritual discipline to follow through? This is a situation here. Now, you said you don't know if you're being supportive or irresponsible. Well, I'm going to help you out right there. You're not being supportive at all. And anybody out there listening, you're not being supportive at all when you were just shelling out money and giving money to family members, friends, people who are not following the proper protocol, the proper discipline, the proper structure to show any signs that they're even trying to make a change. You're not being supportive. Giving money, helping somebody out that is still being reckless is not supportive. That is very irresponsible. And it will always backfire most of the time. Some people say, oh, well, if only I had, a raise on my job. If only, I won the lottery. If only, I came into a big lump sum of money. And the answer is no, that ain't it. If only, and should that happen, all you're going to do is create even more debt, more issues, because you haven't become the person that could even maintain or sustain any of that. So you are being very irresponsible funding somebody else's situation. And I mean, just think about it. If you take it to the top of all of the things that you've done, a bill here or there, a car note whenever she came up short, credit card payments here or there. The question that I have to ask is, did it fix the situation, or are we still here talking about it? Because the first time you did it fix the situation? The second time, the third time, the fourth time, did it fix the situation? Today, I'm a firm believer of when people show you who they are, we need to believe them the first time, not the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th time. When people show you who they are from day one, we ought to believe them. A lesson that was so hard for me to learn, but I'm so thankful that I have it today because you only have to show me once. And I'm not saying that every day is a perfect day. Sometimes we could, want to give people the benefit of the doubt. There's nothing wrong with that, you know, having that great level of discernment. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to give people the benefit of doubt because you already know who they are because they showed you. They told you the first time, they showed you. Their actions speak louder than words. You can give people a second chance, but don't forget the first time that they showed you exactly who they are. So if it happens the second time, don't get all bent out of shape. Just remember and say, okay, listen, yep, I remember that this person showed me from the first time. I gave them the benefit of the doubt, but let me go ahead and, move a little bit differently now that I know for sure. Because if you didn't know the first time, you know about the second time. Now, if we are still having this same conversation 6 scenarios down the road, then shame on you because you should already know better. When people show you who they are the first time, we ought to believe them and stop trying to shape, change, mold, dictate, push, shove, whatever we think that we can do to try to shape and mold them into the person that we want them to be. We can't make them be anything than other than the person who they already are. And the minute that you get that lesson right there, the minute that you learn that situation right there, that scenario right there, it's a game changer. It truly is a game changer. I don't know who I'm speaking to. I'm only speaking from real life experiences, but majority of the time, most of the time, when it came to friends, when it came to relationships, when it came to even people that I work with on my jobs and in general, I was always the type of person that thought that I can go ahead and change another individual with the lack of discipline within self to be able to look in the mirror and know that the only person that I truly can change on this God's green earth here and this planet here is myself. Mm, that one right there, game changer when I figured that out. Game changer. Now, you want to know, how do you love someone without letting their lack of discipline become your financial burden? And that question right there is deep. It's simple. I know it may not seem simple at first. It may look and sound very challenging. Again, I've been there before. When you want to love somebody, but you're got wrapped up, you got trapped up, you're found out that the person that you are head over heels for, you probably shouldn't be with that person. This is why, before we get too deep, before we jump in head first, before we get right on into it, we ought to sit back and evaluate the whole situation. Make sure we get to know this person before we just go all in, before we just start doing the most. Because once you start opening up doors, once you start doing extra sharing and staying over and sleeping over and all this extra stuff, and these soul ties start to form and become a thing, it could be an interesting battle to undo those things spiritually. And then in some cases, when we undo those things and we're not necessarily with that person, some of their poor habits can follow us and carry on with us into the next situation, to the next chapter in our lives. So, how do you love someone without letting their lack of discipline become your financial burden? My answer is, sometimes you might need to love somebody from a distance. You don't. You don't let their lack of discipline become your financial burden, because this is not your responsibility. That is not your responsibility to take on somebody else's issue. Again, I don't know who I'm speaking to. I'm only speaking from real life experiences, but I have taken the burden in the past of somebody else's nonsense. And I was the one who couldn't sleep good at night because I took on their situation. Not one time, not two times, but three times in my life, and almost a fourth time in my life. Absolutely not. We are not doing this again. I don't know who I'm speaking to, like I said, but I'm not doing that today. Now, easier said than done. You can just take this situation and you can run with it and say, okay, I got it. But most of the time, when you are so in love and like what's the record? Okay, of course, my girl Mary J. Blige, Be Happy. When you think you're in love, y'all know the record. You only see what you see. And all I see is me for you and you for me. Sometimes, even though you get this information, because you're still in it, you're not out of it, you're still in it. See, I'm out of it. You're still in it. So you don't see what I see, and vice versa. Although, especially, I don't know what this whole dynamic of this relationship is. The only thing I could do is just look back at my own situations. But like Mary says, when you think you're in love, that ain't real love. You think that you're in love. Because if it was real love, that person would love themselves enough to know that what they're doing to you is taking advantage of the situation, and this is not the right thing to do. But when you think you're in love, you only see what you want to see. And all I see is me for you and you for me. So no matter what anybody says, until your eyes are opened up and you actually see what's really going on, you may not get it. So this may not be the end all be all right here. You might have to go through your own, tests and trials and letdowns or whatever. I mean, you've done enough so far, but who knows what's going to be that next situation, that next letdown that will become your financial rock bottom. You already said that you're having a situation and a time paying down your own debt. So if you get jammed up so much to where you can't even take care of your own situation and bill collectors and things are happening, the worst case scenario, repossessions or evictions or anything could happen. Loss of job, because a lot of this stuff that you take on here, this could potentially affect the way you show up at work, the way you show up in the physical realm, because you might be exhausted and drained from the stress. And I mean, so you understand where this can go. You see that what this scenario could possibly be. Don't let it happen. Don't take her lack of discipline and don't let that become your financial burden, because it could be a situation. Wow, this is a lot. So, anybody out there, if you have anything different, you want to chime in on tonight's scenario as we helped, Mr. Adrian out. If you have anything different, please do me a favor. Drop it in the comments. Let me know. Use your virtual voice. You may also go ahead and text me at 609 200 1098. That is the official 411 podcast Reading Between the Wines hotline. Again, that number is 609 200 1098. Let me know how you feel about tonight's scenario. And we're going to go ahead and get into burning questions. Again, that number is 609 200 1098. That is the official 411 podcast Reading Between the Wines hotline. Burning questions for reflections. Are you building a partnership or underwriting someone else's instability? Are you building a partnership or underwriting someone else's instability? Now, I want you to think about tonight's episode. I want you to think back to what Adrian had going on in his world. I want you to also think back of some of the things that I've shared with you. Now, now it's time where we go ahead and look in, turn in, because everything starts with self. Look at your own situation, look at your own scenario, look at your life. If you're unhappy and you're tuning in and you're listening, and some of this stuff resonates with you and it sounds oh so familiar, this is where we need to ask ourselves the question: are you building a partnership? Now, what does the key word partnership mean? That's a partner. That's not just one person, that's two people building something together. So, are you building a partnership with somebody? Is this a team? Is this working? Is this that 50-50 that I was speaking about earlier? Or are you underwriting someone else's instability? Or are you basically fueling the fire? Or are you basically being somebody else's crutch? Are you being somebody else's meal ticket? That's what they used to say back in the day. Are you building a partnership? Or are you underwriting someone else's instability? Please go ahead and let me know how you feel about tonight's burning question. You may certainly email me, info@larengaines.com. You can text me at 609 200 1098. Again, that is the official 411 podcast Reading Between the Wines hotline. And you can also DM me on any of my social media platforms. I am on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, TikTok, D Live, Twitch, and Daily Motion. Let me know how you feel about tonight's scenario, tonight's burning question, tonight's episode. Track 12: Stop financing your relationship. If anything that you heard tonight spark some sort of interest in you, if you are interested in learning more about debt-free living, head on over to LarenGaines.com. You can sign up for the free 15-minute consultation. You can apply to see if you qualify for the coaching sessions. I focus on debt-free living from the spiritual, mental, physical, and financial realm. Again, you can sign up for the free 15-minute consultation at LarenGaines.com. I also have a lot of free resources as well that you can use and learn up on the website at LarenGaines.com. And I have a lot of different tools and checklists and financial startup packages. So just go ahead and head on over to LarenGaines.com. Look around. I'm sure you might find something on there that might help you on your debt-free living journey. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly. You can text me, you can DM me, and you can email me and let me know how I could be of some support to you. If you like tonight's episode, you want to learn how you can sit at the table. If you want a seat at the table on this mentorship series, please reach out as well. I would love to have someone else join the team with me here on Coaching Sessions Thursday. We have Spiritual Sundays. We have Mental Mondays. We have Transformational Tuesdays. We have Wind Down Wednesdays. Of course, we're here tonight on Coaching Sessions Thursdays. And then we have Financial Fridays. So if you are interested in joining any of these nights here, again, please go ahead and reach out. And the official 411 podcast Reading Between the Wines hotline, check us out where most podcasts are at, where your major podcast platforms are at. Search for the 411 podcast Reading Between the Wines, and we should be there. And if we are not, then again, let me know what's going on, where you're trying to listen to the show at, and we most certainly will go ahead and try to get that set up. Very special shout out to Spotify. Thank you so much to the people out there on Facebook. I appreciate you. YouTube, thank you so much. And on this note, I want to say thank you all so much for joining in. I most certainly will see you when I see you on the next episode. And until then, I'll see you when I see you. Take care. Have a good night.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the 411 podcast and Reading Between the Wines, where growth is always on the menu, and every pour reveals a little more truth. The conversation doesn't end here. Have something to say? Want to weigh in on tonight's burning questions? Text us anytime at the official 411 podcast and Reading Between the Wines hotline at 609-200-1098. Stay plugged in across all social media platforms at Gaines. We're live and in the conversation on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, DLive, Twitch, and Dailymotion. Prefer to listen on the go? The audio version is streaming on most major podcast outlets. Until we meet again, take what you've learned, sip slow, speak truth, and remember, transformation starts within. Powered by the Black Diamond Consultations Network.